Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. In our Linux tutorial series today, we would be talking about security using sudo. So this is what we are going to cover today. Understanding sudo, overview of etc sudoers file, which is the main configuration file, how to set up a sudo user, and some practicals. Okay, so understanding sudo, what is sudo? What is sudo? So, in a real world scenario, imagine in an organization, providing root access to all the users is actually not a good practice. But nonetheless, a normal user might need to execute some commands as a super user as well. And this is where sudo access comes into picture. Now, the word sudo is the abbreviation of the term super user 2, and it is actually a great way of controlling access to the Linux system and decide which user can have what type of access. The sudo commands also provides an efficient way to grant users the special rights to execute commands at the root level. And it's been used by a lot of organization for auditing and security purpose, and it also enables a non-root user to become a root user or execute some designated task as a root user. With sudo, we'll also be able to execute the administrative task mainly without switching without switching the users. So it makes simple to run the system commands by using the non-root users password too. Okay. Overview of etc sudoers file. Sorry. So it's also known as the sudoers file, and it includes a user with permission to run a set of commands as a root user. Now the sudoers file is a file for the sudos for the security configuration, uh, which is used to allocate system rights to the system users. Now this also allows the administrator to control who does what. I mean, as everyone is aware, right? A Linux is built kind of security in mind. So when you want to run a command that requires root rights, Linux basically checks your username against the sudoers file. Now this mechanism happens when you use sudo command, right? We'll cover that more in our practicals too. It determines whether your username is there in the configuration file or not. If it is there and you are executing the granted activity, it executes it. In case your username is not present, or say you are executing something else than what is not specified in the file, it will give you an error. Okay. So when a non-root user wants to run a command that requires root rights, Linux checks the username against it. Okay. How to set up a sudo user? Now we need to edit the sudoers etc sudoers file as a root and specify the user and its privileges in it. So let's quickly run some syntax examples here. So for example, the first syntax, root all, and then all uh, and at the end again it's all. It basically translates to user root can run any command as any user from any group on any host. Now let's break down let's break down the syntax and see what this means. So the start is the root, which is the username. So you can provide any username here. The first all is used to define host. We can define host name or IP address instead of all. Now all means any host. The second and third all, right? The all colon all is the user colon group. So instead of all, we can also define user or user with the group, like this, right? User colon group or all. And the last all is the command. So instead of all, we can also define a specific command which would allow the user, which would basically restrict the user to only execute that command and nothing apart from that. Okay, so this is what the whole meaning of this syntax is. Next one, say you'll get some more clarity with in these two examples, and we are also going to cover in the practicals. So the next syntax, AD1 all equal to root cat etc hostname. It translates to user AD1 can run the cat command as root on all the host. The last syntax, %admins all equal to root cat etc hostname, translates to now users belonging to the group admins. So you can define the group by the %sign, can run the cat command as root on all the host. Okay, so this is what the syntax looks like. Let's cover the same things in our practicals. So I have just to save our time, I had already created few users. I'll just quickly show you what is that. Okay, so for example, root. So this is the default entry that's there. I've already created few users and group, right? So for example, LT is the Linux training user one and the LT Linux training user two. Now I have given some say rights to the LT1 user, but you can see I've given all the rights to the LT2 user. Uh, I'll explain what does this mean. Okay, and then the third is %admins. So I've created a group admins and have added an user in it, and he can execute only this command. So if the user attempts to execute any other command apart from this, you'll see it will give you an error. For example, I'm logged in as root, right? So to execute any sudo based commands, you will have to type sudo. By the way, sudo package, right? It's a separate package, and it's available in most of the Linux installations, be it CentOS, RHEL, or Ubuntu. In case it's not, I mean, you can just do yum install sudo or apt-get install sudo for Ubuntu, and it will install the package. So sudo, I'll just say copy it, say sudo cat etc hostname, right? It asks me for my my password to validate, and it shows the result. So this is my hostname. Now if I try to execute any other command, say if I want to try access the etc host file, it will give me an error. Sorry, user LT1 is not allowed to execute this as root on Linux training. Okay, so this is how you can control the access. Now if I want to say enable one more file, right, one more say cat command, say I'll just copy paste it, and I will say what which config file we can pick. So we'll pick host.conf. Okay, I'll save this. Now let's try host.conf, right? So you are able to access it, right? So this is how you can specify the actions or the commands. Now this is simple cat command. So imagine in real world scenario where an admin needs to have some rights to restart the services. I'll probably replace this command by with the command of restarting any particular service, right? So this is about the first user. The second user is LT2. Okay, now difference between LT2. So for LT1 you saw that you were not able to execute all the commands. So I will log in as LT2. Now LT2, so before that, right? Sorry. So let's log into LT1. I'll show you difference between what the LT1 and LT2 user could be. Right, so I cannot log in as root. So sudo su is nothing but which will give me an access as root to become a root user, and this is exactly what this configuration says, that LT2 can become root. So let's log in as LT2. Sorry, not LT2. Yeah. So sudo su hyphen, and it will ask me for my LT2 password, and I am root now, and I can execute any commands here. Okay, so this is what the second configuration looks like. Now coming to the third one, the group one, right? And just for the sake of simplicity, I've kept the similar uh, command. Now this is the user that I have added. For example, if you check the ID, you would see the user ID of AD1 is this, and the GID is admins, right? And it belongs to the admins group. Now for this, I have given the permission to execute cat on say hostname file, right? Sudo cat. It will ask me for my name. That's right. Now, why the command, actually was executed successfully, because cat etc. I mean, the etc hostname file has permission for the normal user as well, and that's why you didn't see any command. So this is actually an example that uh, I was able to execute it without specifying the sudo, but the moment I specified sudo, it refers to this file. Okay, now for example, you would see we don't have etc hostname here, etc host.conf. Let's see what happens. Right, it will give you an error. User AD1 is not allowed to is not allowed to execute host.conf. Now let's try and give the permission for this user as well, and you would see that I'll I'll be able to execute it. Okay, multi on. Yeah, right. So you must have noticed that after specifying the password for the first time here, it didn't ask me for the password for some time. So by default, I guess there are few there is a few minutes of limit. I think it's 5, which sudo will term that you are a valid user to be used as sudo, and it won't ask you for that for the password. So that's how all these configurations are like there in the Linux. Okay, last one. So it you would also see etc sudoers.d directory. Sorry. Right now, if you check the etc sudoers file, at the end it says include dir etc sudoers.d. Now this is again commented, meaning it's not in use, but this is also a great way to specify say any any various level of permissions. So I can create etc sudoers similar to etc sudoers file, and I can place it in the etc sudoers dot directory. Uh, I'll have to uncomment that line in etc sudoers file, and then all the configurations from my etc sudoers.d would also be read. So imagine a scenario where there are like multiple users, right? Say there is an HR, there is a there is a finance guy, there is a what do we say, engineering guy. So I would probably create three different files for them to access a particular file on my Linux system. So that way also you can limit the uh, access by specifying say separate files for each of your set of users or groups. Okay, that's all we had today in our topic. Thank you for watching this video, and do let us know in the comments if you want us to cover any specific topic. Thank you. Bye.